1 month into the Israeli-Hamas conflict, UN Security Council remains divided on the language of a draft resolution that would call for humanitarian relief for the besieged enclave of Gaza. This as the Secretary General warned that Gaza was becoming a graveyard for children and that the unfolding catastrophe made the need for humanitarian ceasefire more urgent with every passing hour. Now, let's get an update. Our correspondent Mia Alberti joins us live from Beirut. Mia, thank you so much for your time. Now, as you've heard, of course, we are hearing that there's nothing in Gaza but death. We understand over 4,000 children have been killed in Gaza. Now, this is as, of course, Israel continues to warn those that are still in the north to move southwards. Just talk to us about what is the latest on the ground in that area.
I mean, we saw a very relevant development on Wednesday when the Israeli army said that it has reached the heart of Gaza city, so the heart of the Gaza Strip. And again, this is Palestinian territory according to United Nations. So we now have this incursion into Gaza just continuing as we are continuing to see airstrikes as well that are targeting hospitals, schools, journalists, doctors, aid workers. The International Red Cross said that one of their convoys that were bringing aid from Egypt was struck by Israeli forces, and we continue to see this condemnation from the United Nations, but a lack of this political will to press Israel for a ceasefire as we continue to see this mounting number of civilians killed. We know, according to the Ministry of Health in Gaza, that more than 10,000 people have been killed, and as you mentioned, almost half of them are children. Also, an important development now is that the Palestinians are accusing Israel of trying to push the Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip to try and retake the Gaza Strip as it happened before in 2005. And so we're seeing the Palestinians seeing this Israeli operation not as one against Hamas, as the Israeli forces have announced, but one to retake this territory, to retake Palestinian territory, to occupy the Gaza Strip even further. You mentioned, for example, that the Israeli army is asking Palestinians to move south, but then at the same time, Israeli forces are also bombing the south. They are bombing the roads that they said that people could take. They are bombing the Rafah crossing, and at the same time saying that aid should come from that crossing. So we're seeing this complete devastation of life in Palestine, and there is no safe way for Gazans and in their territories at the moment, and that's why a lot of people are actually not leaving northern Gaza. They are staying in their houses. A lot of people actually went to the south, got bombed there, and then came back to their houses in the north. So as you said, it is a completely devastating scenario in Gaza at the moment.
But of course, we also know that there is some sort of activity now happening also on the West Bank. Just give us a sense of what is currently happening there now. We know that, there's been a rise in violence, against Palestinians who have occupied the West Bank too.
Absolutely. We're seeing a very relevant increase in settler violence. This comes after the Israeli forces armed some of these settlers that are illegally in the West Bank. We have seen, I think it is more than 2,000 Palestinians have been unlawfully arrested in the West Bank. Again, these are Palestinian territories considered by the United Nations, and we continue to see this type of violences. We see people dying there. We see night raids taking place, violence at checkpoints, settler violence, as I mentioned. And again, this is a place where there is no Hamas, and this violence is happening not only through Israeli forces, but also through civilians, through settlers who are in the West Bank illegally. So the Palestinian authorities again asking the question, why are we seeing this violence happening in the West Bank, where according to the Palestinian Authority, Israelis should not even be present, and there is no Hamas? So what is the excuse now? This is what the Palestinians are asking, for Israeli forces and Israeli settlers to be doing this violence against Palestinians in the West Bank.